Hey, I'm excited to introduce to you a new project for me, a 1988 Fox Ford Mustang 5-liter coupe. Now, it's actually not a new project because I actually owned this vehicle some 25 years ago, and I'm super excited that I was able to buy it back. And you can expect a whole host of content to come out about, the work to rescue this Mustang and get it back on the road to enjoy. So the story of this Mustang is that I bought it in around 2000. It was a completely stock coupe. I think I paid $4,000 for it. It had a little over 100,000 kilometers on it. Dead stock. Had the original plugs in it even. It was, automatic air conditioning. It was sort of a daily driver for me. However, very quickly I began to do very subtle modifications to the engine, transmission, and suspension in order to get into drag racing. And so that's the sort of backstory on it. And I had a lot of fun with that Mustang. The car, when I sold it, the next owner had some engine trouble, significant trouble, actually cracked the block, broke the crank off between the first and second journal. And so when it broke, he parked it and it sat there for about 10 years. And so during the pandemic, I reached out and said, if there's ever a chance you want to sell it back, please keep me in mind. And he connected me to a person he'd just sold it to, and eventually we were able to make a deal and I bought it back. So about 2 years ago, I bought it. I've had it parked in storage ever since. I've been working on my Volkswagen projects. Now, I actually had a video a year ago just overviewing a little bit of the backstory of me buying it back. So there's a link in the description if you want to follow along to learn more about that. So the car itself is very stock. It had some damage in the 90s, so it's required some metal repair. Forgive how it appears right now. It's in a high school shop where my son is taking auto body class, and he's been doing a lot of rust repair, replacing rusted metal with new sheet metal. And he's slowly getting it ready to do a respray of the original scarlet red color. Like all Fox Mustangs, it has the notorious frame rust in the front under the K-member. So the K-member and suspension is off currently because that will need to be dealt with before it's ready for paint and can be brought home to be reassembled. Now, I had a lot of fun with this vehicle, as I mentioned. So I did a lot of drag racing, which I really enjoyed. And the first time I took it to the track, it actually ran like 1675 at 85 or 6 miles per hour. It was kind of embarrassing. It was quite slow. I was surprised. However, within 10 years of just doing work on suspension, freeing up any parasitic horsepower losses, and gearing and transmission work, I was actually able to run 1379 at 101 mile per hour with a stock motor. And some people find that hard to believe, but once you're able to make efficient use of the power that you do have, it's pretty incredible what you can do. So I'll do a deep dive video on how I ran 13s with a stock motored AOD in upcoming weeks. But once I got the car back, I knew I was too busy, so I put it into storage. And so, now here I am ready to get started with it. So as I mentioned, the engine was broken. So in the meantime, the owner that I purchased it from had actually picked up a very low mileage, high output 5-liter engine. So I have a spare engine. I'll do a deep dive on that motor soon in terms of diagnosing its overall condition. And we'll, pull the pan off and take a good look at the bearings and, go through and check the whole thing. But I'm quite confident this motor is being in a heated, dry storage. It's, for almost 30 years. It's going to be a great platform to start from for it. I've always been really fascinated by the NHRA stock eliminator class racing. It involves, mostly muscle car oriented vehicles, but they're functionally stock engines. So, they got to run the factory heads and the factory intake and the carburetor intake assembly, factory lift cam. Yeah, they can run headers and gearing and converter and some other tricks, but for the most part, that class is about wringing the most horsepower out of the basic stock engine that you have. And so I find that really exciting and interesting. And my goal in the long run is actually to race in that class with this car. But in the meantime, I want to get it back on the road, hopefully in the next 6 to 8 months, And I want to try and get it to the low 13-second quarter mile time, still with a stock AOD speed density motor. So we'll see. I know lots of people have done it. I'm hoping that I can certainly join that list of people as well. So again, if you've enjoyed this little introduction and you want to follow along more with the project, be sure to subscribe. There'll be a lot of content dropping here over the next 6 months as I go through the project 5-liter stalker, as I rescue this Mustang from the shell that it is and return it back to the road. So thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.